Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? Couple of teams looking for a get-right Sunday in the Dome. The Saints will welcome in the Lions. Find out about how Dan Campbell's squad is coming off their Thanksgiving loss and what the Saints can look forward to. Jim Costa does radio up there in Detroit, 97.1 The Ticket, also studio host for the Lions. Good enough to join us for a couple of minutes. Hey, Jim, we appreciate it, man. How are you?
Hey, not a problem. Happy to join you guys.
Hey, man, give me a little bit of a vibe check after the Thanksgiving loss to Green Bay.
Yeah, I mean, you got to understand that the Lions fan base is used to heartbreak and heartache. This 8-3 start's kind of uncharted territory. So when something goes wrong, people start to have that PTSD moment. No, here we go again. So this Sunday feels like a really big spot for Detroit to try to calm people down.
What went wrong? Look, everybody watched Thanksgiving Day. I mean, we've all seen the television numbers. It was a massive day. And it just started so terribly for Detroit. What happened from your perspective there at the beginning of that game?
Yeah, the autopsy, if you will.
Yeah.
I think the autopsy actually goes back a few weeks prior. So the Lions beat the Chargers out of their bye week, but they gave up touchdowns on the final 5 drives of the game. Scored 41 points, so it didn't cost them.
Mm-hmm.
But they ran into issues the very next week on the defensive side of the ball against the Bears, but it's Chicago, so it did not cost them. But then on Thanksgiving Day, if you can't get a pass rush and then you turn the ball over, things start to spiral. So it's one of those deals where if you have to play shootouts because your defense doesn't get home and then your offensive line lets a couple free runners through, Goff gets panicky, turnovers happen, and it's everybody's nightmare on television.
Is the defense really that bad? I mean, I can look at the points per game, and they're 24th in the league. And as you mentioned, there have been some bad performances. The Ravens was a bad performance.
Yeah.
Are they really that bad?
It's all relative, right? So they had no issue playing against Jimmy Garoppolo or Desmond Ridder or Bryce Young. But when they faced playoff caliber teams, obviously beating Kansas City week 1 is the outlier, but the playoff teams that they've faced, the high caliber offenses they've faced, it's shown that they simply don't have an edge rusher opposite Aiden Hutchinson. And if they're unwilling to blitz, if they're going to rush 4 and they're not going to get home, it's going to be a long day when you face quality teams.
Jim Costa is with us. Nice having won the ticket up in Detroit. I don't know that the Saints are a quality team.
Fair.
They're probably going to be down their top 3 receivers, or could be down their top 3 receivers. Where is that Lions defense most vulnerable?
Jerry Jacobs. Just in short answer, I mean, everybody knows to pick on him. Good offensive coordinators are going to see, all right, who's he lined up with? Pick on him 8-10 times a game. It's not a secret anymore.
So is it what is the matchup been? Like, I don't watch the Lions every week. So is it short intermediate? Is it the deep stuff? Where's the problem been?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of everything. I mean, against Green Bay Thanksgiving, it was a little more intermediate, right? But a couple deep shots will kill you. I mean, it'll flip the field, and I think it's a little bit of everything in the secondary. I happen to think that the pass defense of the Lions is every bit as bad as the numbers suggest.
Flip it over to the offensive side. It's the opposite conversation, right? I mean, the Lions are top 10 in the league in everything that matters. Why has it worked so well offensively?
Yeah, I think Ben Johnson, future head coach, he's a hell of a play caller, and you'll see some hallmarks of good NFL offense, which is play action. You'll see motion pre-snap, marrying the run and pass concepts to keep defenses on their heels. Jared Goff, an accurate quarterback when he's in rhythm and he's got time, and this offensive line features 3 first-round picks up front.
Yeah.
And those guys all being healthy, and Jonah Jackson back at practice this week at the left guard. I mean, that's kind of the whole deal, is if they win the line of scrimmage, Goff doesn't get panicky, and the offense all of a sudden starts to hum where guys are in the right spots and there's big yards after the catch.
Jim, is that really the answer, how Detroit has turned this around as an organization, that they've hit in the draft?
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's been the emphasis, is capitalizing not just with your picks at the top, the Penei Sewell pick, the Aiden Hutchinson pick, but also Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think they really view him as the type of guy you want to build around. Chip on his shoulder, didn't run the fastest 40. He's not 6'5", but he's where he needs to be. He's tough. He's gritty, a big buzzword here for the Lions. And everybody knows now he remembers everybody drafted in front of him. It's that chip on the shoulder mentality.
Yeah. I saw where Amon-Ra St. Brown passed Calvin Johnson for the most scrimmage yards by a wide receiver with the Lions through 3 career seasons. I mean, that's a mouthful. Jim, like, is the NFL maybe sleeping on Amon-Ra St. Brown a bit whenever you consider that type of production?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because we hold Calvin in high regard locally. Everybody does.
Everybody does, yeah.
Too. Yeah, but especially here, I mean, we watch the guy jump over 2-3 defenders at a time and come down with the ball pretty reliably. St. Brown, completely different receiver, and I think it is that underneath possession receiver that goes unnoticed, but the production speaks for itself.
I want to ask also about Dan Campbell. He was a guy who was here. Yeah, he was a guy who was here, and I mean, he was a guy that was beloved. I mean, he was the gritty type player, right? And you know, there's this feeling that he's the one on staff that they let get away. That the Saints ultimately ended up promoting the wrong guy. What has been? We can all look at the quotables, right? We're going to bite your kneecap and all that stuff, but emotionally get you so far in the league. What has it been with Dan Campbell that's allowed him to get buy-in and success the way that they have in Detroit?
Yeah, I mean, the quotes are there. I mean, this week he was talking about your guys, the shrimp gumbo. He said it's as good as gold. So, I mean, those are always going to be part of Dan Campbell's approach. But, yeah, once you get beyond surface level, I think he is incredibly real, or at least he connects with people in a way that you get buy-in. I think he has this fine line of, I mean, he's a man's man, but at the same time, he's not afraid to be vulnerable and admit, hey, I screwed up, or we got to be better at this. And I think it's not cliche. I think it really connects with people here, and especially locally. I mean, he is beloved.
Was it the start last year? I remember when the team was so close a year ago to breaking through, and he kind of had that tearful press conference. And then it was like, boom, they rip off 3 in a row and won 6 of 7, I believe, right in the middle of that season. Was that moment really the turning point that everybody there in Detroit sort of looks at?
There was a moment, they're 1-6, and ownership defended him publicly. And you got to understand, in Detroit, the forward ownership is an easy punching bag. I mean, the team has been so bad for so long that this doing radio. Eventually, everybody just distills it to the top, right? It's not the 1 or 2 coaches you hired or the 3 or 4 bozo executives. It's ownership, and they don't know what they're doing. But when ownership stuck up for them and said, no, we're not panicking. We feel like we have the right guy, it was putting their neck out there, and they responded from that moment on. I mean, they rattled off into the last 10 last season and immediately won the first game this year against Kansas City and haven't looked back.
Was there any legitimate concern about Dan Campbell and Texas A&M?
No, not. I mean, we laughed about it locally. There was no way he was going to leave.
Yeah. It's so hard to imagine a sitting head coach in the NFL leaving for a college job. Then again, A&M and that oil money, man, you never really know sometimes. A couple more for you. Jim Costa's with us from 97, won the ticket there in Detroit. He's on Twitter at @JimCosta_. The importance for Detroit at 8-3, especially coming off the loss, qualify the importance of this game Sunday for Detroit as they look ahead to the playoffs.
What do you want, like a scale of 1 to 10?
Yeah, well, scale of 1 to 10 or just how important is it for Detroit to get this game when you look at what's still ahead, still with 3 divisional matchups to go?
So let me play the line of not just doing radio and trying to be a little more measured, right? Because we're very emotional, and I think there is a concern that, hey, panic will set in if they lose. The reality is the Lions are 2.5 games up in their division. They're going to have 2 in a row, or not 2 in a row, but 2 still to go against the Vikings. They could lose this game, be an 8-4 team, still handle their business, still get a home playoff game. something we haven't had in 30 years. Win that playoff game, something we haven't seen in 30 years. So I don't know that panic is something they're staving off, but I just go back to that PTSD. I think fans will start to spiral a little bit if this continues to happen, where they play down to their competition and even lose this game.
Yeah. Lions are 4.5-point road favorites Sunday in the Dome. What is the blueprint for Detroit to come into New Orleans and win?
Yeah, I think there was a great quote by their running back coach this week. Some people like peanut butter, some people like jelly. Most people like both. It's Gibbs and Montgomery both being featured in the backfield. Get back to winning the line of scrimmage, dump the ball off to them, win TOP, give the defense a breather, let them play with a lead. I think it all comes down to getting both those backs going and building up a lead.
Do you go crunchy or smooth peanut butter?
So in our household, it's a debate. Wife is crunchy. I prefer smooth.
Smooth, of course. You got to go creamy. And then do you do grape jelly or strawberry?
I prefer strawberry overall, but grape if you're doing it with peanut butter.
Oh, we're the same person, Jim. If I'm getting a biscuit, I want strawberry jelly. But if I'm doing a PBJ, it's creamy peanut butter and grape jelly. You and I, we are kindred spirits.
We are.
You can tell a lot about a man based on the way he takes his peanut butter and jelly. My guy, Jim Costa. We're lifelong friends. You didn't even know it. Hey,
best of bud.
We appreciate the time, Jim. Thanks. Enjoy the game Sunday.
I appreciate it. You guys too.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.